You know that feeling, right? It's a frustrating spot to be in. You are absolutely crushing your targets. You're one of the best on your team, but when it comes to that next step, that promotion to manager, you feel like you've just slammed into a brick wall. Well, let's dive into why that happens, because it turns out the path to leadership is not what most of us think it is.
This is the question that probably keeps you up at night. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, maybe you're even working harder than anyone else, but the promotion goes to someone else. So what gives? Well, the answer isn't about working harder, it's about completely shifting your entire mindset from being a doer to being an enabler.
You see, in every organization, there's this invisible barrier. Let's call it a silent wall. And here's the real secret. Getting over that wall has very little to do with your technical skills. It has everything to do with your mindset. Most people don't get promoted not because they can't do the work, but because they never learned how to think like a leader before they ever got the title.
So, how do you climb that wall? Well, it all starts with this first, crucial step, the manager mindset shift. This is the fundamental psychological jump you absolutely have to make before anyone will even consider you for a leadership role.
This one quote just nails the whole concept. It comes from a real story about two engineers, both super skilled, both up for the same promotion. But when the one with slightly lower performance numbers actually got the job, his colleague was just stunned. The manager's explanation was so simple but so powerful. He said, "You are great at doing your job. He is great at helping others do theirs." And that, right there, is the entire shift from doing to enabling. And this is a perfect breakdown of that shift in thinking. See, the employee mindset is always asking, how do I finish this task? But the manager mindset is asking something different. How do we achieve this result? It's a huge move from my success is my output to my success is my team's output. A promotion isn't a reward, it's a responsibility.
So here's the bottom line. A promotion isn't a prize for being the best person on the team. It's a totally new role. It's a responsibility for the success of a whole group of people. And companies give that responsibility to the person who has already proven they can think bigger than just themselves.
Okay, so you get the mindset, but how do you actually show people? How do companies see that you've made that shift? That brings us to section 2, where we're going to look at the exact framework they use to spot future leaders. Think of it as your own personal leadership compass, and it's called BLOTIC.
The BLOTIC Framework is basically your promotion compass. It's a model built on 6 pillars that define exactly what management ready looks like. And this isn't about what's on your resume. It's about the visible behaviors you show off every single day at work.
And here they are, those 6 pillars. This diagram is your roadmap. Companies are always looking for people who show strength in all of these areas: business value, leadership, ownership, trust, influence, and of course, communication.
Let's just run through them real quick so it sticks. B is for business value. Are you actually making a measurable impact? L for leadership. Can you guide others without a fancy title? O is for ownership. T is for trust. I is for influence. Do people listen to you because they want to? And C is for communication. If you can demonstrate these things, guess what? You're already acting like a manager.
Which is the perfect lead-in to our next section. Act like a manager. This is where we stop talking about the what and start getting into the how. The practical, everyday things you can do. And oh man, this slide illustrates the unspoken rule of getting ahead so perfectly. Most of us believe the path is the one on the left. You do your job well, you get promoted, and then you start leading. But the reality? It's the complete opposite. You have to start acting like a leader first. That's what gets you noticed, and that's what earns you the promotion. Leadership gets you the title. The title doesn't just magically give you leadership. So how do you do that without, stepping on everyone's toes and looking like you're just grabbing for power? The key is to lead with service, not authority. This guide shows you how. Focus on helping other people look good. Share credit publicly. Use the word we instead of I. You're offering support, not trying to control them. People will follow you when you help them succeed. This idea of service flows right into our next key concept in section 4, thinking like an owner. This is all about getting your head out of just doing tasks and really starting to understand and create real business value. Here's the difference in a nutshell. An employee thinks, okay, task is done, check. A manager thinks, did that task actually move the business forward? Did it add real value? It's a total shift from focusing on just being busy to focusing on having an impact.
I mean, check out this example. There was an engineer in a factory who noticed machines were always stopping. Now, the average employee would just fix the machine every time it broke, but this engineer, he dug into the data, recommended a simple preventative maintenance schedule, and ended up saving the company $120,000 a year. See, he wasn't just doing his job, he was protecting the company's bottom line. He was thinking like an owner.
So here it is. This is the single most powerful question you can ask yourself to start thinking like a manager. Before you make any decision, just stop and ask, if this were my own money on the line, would I still do this? That one little filter, it changes everything.
All right, let's bring this all home in our final section, the unspoken promotion formula. This is the simple, powerful logic that really decides who gets ahead.
Here's the absolute truth. Companies don't like to gamble. They are not going to bet on someone who might be a good leader. They promote the person who has already proven it, the person who's already behaving like a manager day in and day out. If you act like an employee, you're going to stay an employee. If you act like a manager, you'll become one.
And this is how they figure it out. Your bosses are running a silent test all the time. They're watching. Do you take on more work without complaining? Do other people listen to you even though you don't have a title? Do you just report problems or do you try to fix them? They're looking for capacity, influence, ownership, and emotional maturity. Your job is to be the person who passes that test every single day.
And we're going to end on this one last, pretty provocative question. This gets right to the heart of what leadership really is. It isn't about the perks or the power. It's about accountability. So are you ready to be blamed for a mistake that you didn't personally make? Are you ready to take responsibility not just for your own work, but for the entire team's results, especially when things go wrong? When your answer to that is yes, you're not just ready for the title, you're already a leader.